Easy there, tiger. You really got my hair in that one.
Okay. Should I start? Or you want to start? Welcome to the first episode of what we're pretty sure is going to be called The Nurse and the Naturopath. Is that what we decided?
This is a working title.
It's a working title. It could be The Naturopath and the Nurse or The Nut and the Nurse.
What about witch doctor?
Oh, but like, how are you going to spell witch?
I hadn't thought that far. I hadn't thought it through.
Didn't mean to make that play on words there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was obviously going to be WITCH, but
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like in our choosing of a title, nurse and naturopath, or the naturopath and the nut, or vice versa, we kind of were like, it leads to some good background on us, because we were trying to decide like who is the more like woo woo, you know, is it the naturopath or is it the nurse who's turned witch and teaches consciousness? And yeah, I don't know, it's hard to say.
It changes day to day, I feel like, hour to hour.
You think who's more witchy or woo woo changes
literally
day
depends
to day?
on the minute.
Okay, that's fair. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you went from nursing to getting into more holistic things and spiritual side of things?
Yeah, I was super into, science only, evidence-based, and I still believe in that stuff.
And how long have you been a nurse? You've been
14 years.
Yeah.
And even before that, I was really like just science-minded, even though I really like what could be, but I was pretty much grounded in what is and what's been proven. And then when I was injured as a nurse by a patient,
right.
It was, the kick in the ass I needed. It was a kick in the neck, but whatever.
Ouch.
And then I started doing triage, so I didn't have to do direct patient care.
Yeah.
They really lean into you using your nursing intuition when you're a nurse. That's a big part of being a nurse.
You've said that. And do you think that's everywhere, or do you think that's just a Kaiser thing?
I wonder. I don't know. I've only worked at Kaiser.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I kind of remember it in nursing school, but in Kaiser it was definitely pushed.
Yeah.
So it was, like, definitely told to you every day, like, you're supposed to be using your nursing intuition.
That's cool.
And that's why we, one of the reasons we need you.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, like, brought me back to the witchiness that I kind of had always maybe had as a teenager or as a kid, and thought, like, oh, this is actually a valuable tool. Like, this isn't that woo woo,
Yeah.
This is actually a very, very helpful skill.
Yeah.
And so then I think it helped me when I was going down like my self-help path and things, to really just keep leaning into my intuition, and got into consciousness and all that stuff, and just seeing that stuff that's now proven about how like our cells listen to what we think. Even,
do you feel like it validated it for you that Kaiser was like,
yeah,
no, this is a real thing? Like,
yeah,
that's so funny just to think about, like, this little, intuitive, very witchy person, empath, whatever, like, growing up, and then Kaiser has to be like, no, we actually think that's real too. You should listen to your intuition.
I needed like a corporation to tell me that it was valid for
only
me to,
in America.
Yeah, only in America. So then it was safe for me to like lean back in, and then I just kind of kept going from there.
Okay.
How about you?
Ooh, how about me? I think it's harder to pinpoint that for me, because like when you're raised by hippies, I don't know, when did it start, like before
you were born. Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know. I think, my aunt is a doctor of Chinese medicine, and I'm really close with her. My parents were, following Indian gurus and traveling to India with me at a young age to spend months like in an ashram. And some of that, like, I mean, as an 8-year-old, I didn't like a lot of that. Like, some of it I didn't like. I didn't like the idea of idolizing a human, an individual like that. I remember telling them, like, you guys are stupid. Like, this is dumb. But it wasn't the spiritual stuff that that part I think always resonated with me. I don't really think I've had a time where I rebelled, against that part. Um, and the same thing with holistic, just eating healing foods, somewhat being around herbal medicine. That wasn't so much a part of my upbringing, but again, having a doctor of Chinese medicine as an auntie that I was very close to, I don't know, they're just, and both my parents meditating and doing yoga every day. There were just so many ways, they were vegetarians for a long time. I don't know, I just think it was always a part of my day to day that we kind of live holistically. Um, I don't really remember having so much like homeopathy and herbal medicine. Somewhat surprisingly, that I feel like wasn't really a part of it, but a little bit though. I remember like my mom, yeah, she had some old books and things, and anyway, yeah, it's just always been around me since my name is Oceana Star. Like obviously, I was raised by huge ass hippies, and are you allowed to say ass on a podcast? Is that like
You can
something
say
they
whatever
take
you
in or
want.
something? Okay. I don't know. So yeah, but I think the holistic healing part of it for me was more when my mom got really sick and I was like 20, 21, 22, 21, yeah, around there when it started. And she just was one of those people who really fell through the cracks of Western medicine, and everyone's saying, like, we don't know what's wrong, something's wrong, but we don't know. Um, and weren't able to help her, and she was really, really ill, so, and like unable to work anymore, like completely disabled. And so that was when I really got into the holistic health side of things. And she was someone who already had been doing a lot of like she worked with a macrobiotic person and did like macrobiotic eating and a bunch of different dietary stuff, and had seen a naturopath a couple times and an acupuncturist, and um but I don't know, she just yeah, she wasn't well when I started taking care of her, and also didn't really have the funds to like pursue a lot of the holistic stuff more, and I think hadn't really found even in that realm like a whole lot of relief at the point she was at, and just couldn't continue anyway. So when she was sick was really the turning point for me of my interest in naturopathic medicine solidifying, because I was there taking care of her, and I was 22. I didn't know shit. I didn't know anything. I really didn't know much about diet. um, but she had all these old like hippie books on her bookshelf about herbal medicine and dietary healing, and her doctors had her on all this crazy, like she was having gut issues, digestion issues, constipation, stuff like that, really severe, among other things. Like she lost feeling in her hands and feet, she couldn't sleep for more than 10 minutes, like just lots of different things. She was like down to like 80 pounds. um, but her doctor had her, like her primary care doctor, on like a Rice Krispie diet because it's low fiber and different things. And I just thought, okay, I really don't know anything, but I think this might be wrong. Like, I don't know. I'm 22 and I don't know anything, but I'm pretty sure. So I just started doing things like that, like doing let's eat vegetables and meat and fruit and, maybe some whole grains, and just eat healthy foods, and was finding myself making herbal medicine recipes, from like her Rosemary Gladstar, who's like a really wonderful, traditional, old school American herbalist who's well known. She had like these Rosemary Gladstar books on her bookshelf, and I would make tea recipes and stay up late doing that and learning about those, and then I would read a recipe in her macrobiotic book and make something there, and then I would pick up an amethyst that she had out for decoration and Google around and be like, oh, that could be used for something healing. Like, I'm gonna try that, and maybe she'll like shut up and go to sleep. Like, I don't know. It did work one time too. But like it's just, yeah, that was the experience, like caregiving my mom for those years, for almost a decade. Um, that really showed me what holistic medicine could do, and that I was really interested in it. I think I didn't know before then how interested I was. Um, yeah, and then I started to realize, like, oh wow, I'm really like devouring every page of this, book about the constituents of fennel. Like, this is actually maybe beyond just this one-time case or wanting to help
Yeah.
my mom.
It's like a special interest for you.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know that though before, but and reading books about, like by Susan Weed, who's another great herbalist to check out, and she's known for being really mean, and another word I won't say, but yeah, just mean is a good way to put it, fiery, if you will. But she's the one who like really pushed, or one of the big herbalists who pushed like infusions, like the strong herbal overnight steep like infusion. Um, but she, like, reading her book, she taught me that all these weeds are edible. Like all this stuff like outside your window is there waiting to help you with exactly the thing that ails you, and I didn't know that before then. What, like the dandelions out there that people are calling weeds are going to help your liver and detox you. And so yeah, it just was like a period of love, of a lot of intense learning, motivated by like my love for my mom and wanting to like save her. um that's kind of what brought me to naturopathic medicine. And then I realized that there was a school that you could go to and you could do that. And then I went, oh fuck, I have to take pre-med courses for that. So that's how that started.
But you did it.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I just said, okay, like, I was not someone who found science and math to be topics that had ever come easy for me. So that felt like a big barrier, actually, to get where I wanted to go. Um, but I was just so motivated by wanting to get to naturopathic school. So I remember just thinking, like, okay, well, the first class is like Bio 1. Let me just see if I can handle Bio 1, because I did cultural studies in undergrad and I went to a college on purpose where you don't have to take any science or math or anything. Like, they don't have a core curriculum at Smith College.
What?
You just take what you want in your major. I mean, you have requirements for your major, but that's it.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's
like I
awesome.
went out of my way to get out of ever having to take science or math again after I graduated high school.
You mean
Um,
college? Oh no,
no,
high
high
school.
school. I wanted to go to a college that
Oh,
had no science
okay.
requirement, no math. So
That's
then
so
later
funny.
on, you found me doing pre med. um, yeah, so I just thought, well, let me just try. And bio went really well. I got a really great teacher, and I lucked out, and I liked it. So then I thought, okay, well, just try one more, and I just kept going like that. Not all of them were fun and easy, but yeah, that's how that happened. But even after that, I think I talked to you about this before for sure, but I think I was really naive about what I thought naturopathic school would be. Like, I thought it was gonna be, I don't know, like dancing in the fairy, in the woods with the fairies, and diving more into spiritual healing and energy work. Because I had, in the course of taking care of my mom, started to kind of walk that path myself, versus just being exposed to it, which I think is different. Like, for me, it was always like, yeah, I'm totally open, but I'm not doing that stuff. But once I was in my 20s and caregiving her, I started to get really into it. Um, and just found things like tapping, which is like an acupressure um, technique for mental emotional well-being. I guess that's a good way to summarize it. It's considered energy psychology, but anyway, I got into all these different modalities, and learning about the mind body connection. And I just thought, okay, naturopathic school could take me farther with that, right? Like, that's the place where I'll learn more about consciousness and mind body and all these things. Like, that's where you go for that, right? I just thought that made sense. And because even herbal medicine has so much of a spiritual component and connection to the land and just all these things. And so I thought, like, yeah, this is what I need to take me to the next level beyond what I can kind of glean myself just from seeing practitioners and mentors and reading books. Um, but when I got there, I was pretty surprised that it was, cadaver lab and cutting open bodies like you're a surgeon to learn anatomy, and taking, a shit ton of biochemistry and doing phlebotomy and blood draws and all these things. I don't know. I feel like I didn't really think that one through. But I'm glad I didn't, because I wouldn't have done it if I didn't know. I just thought it would be a lot more holistic. So yeah, I just think that's an interesting part of the journey for me, is all the gratitude I have for the things I did learn in ND school, and also like how far I've come from that foundation in my own practice and work.
Yeah, I didn't even want to be a nurse. I just did it to like be able to put food on the table for my kids because I was a single mom.
Yeah.
Um, but it is one of the things that like taught me that I could manifest stuff really well, because I became a nurse to pay the bills, and then I hated it, obviously. Who wouldn't? Like,
how long
do you know a nurse? She hates it, okay? She hates it.
How long were you working before you realized that you hated it?
Oh, before I started. I mean, I knew in nursing school, I was like, this is going to be absolute hell.
Okay.
And
well, you figured it out.
So I had this like mantra that I would say, like, if I could just work, actually, this was even before I was a nurse. This was like, I was a very, very broke single mom, 2 kids. And I would write down in a little journal like what I wanted to see happen, and I would say in my head, if I could just work part-time and make over $100,000 a year. And that was like my little thing. That's all I want. Like, if I could just work part-time and make over $100,000 a year. Part-time from home.
From home. That's important.
That's important. I want to work part-time from home and make over $100,000 a year. And that was like what I'd always write in my thing. If I could just have that, I would just be happy, right? And I had no idea how I would do it or whatever. And I became a nurse, which is obviously you work in a hospital.
Like, yeah, like how are you going to work from home as a nurse?
Like I said, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was writing it down as my wish list, but I was actively not doing anything towards it.
Yeah.
Then when I got injured and became a triage nurse, they were like, oh, well, this is a fine job, but you work from home. And there's no pay decrease or anything. And then that's when I realized I am working part-time from home, making over $100,000 a year. So it took me like 10 years from the first time I wrote that down to the time that it happened.
Wow.
But I literally was doing nothing to make it happen.
Right.
Nothing
you just put it out there, and then you were like, done.
To make it happen, because I thought that was an unattainable thing.
Right.
That I wish I could have it.
Yeah.
But yet, because I asked for it, it happened. So like that, then I thought, oh, I should have wished for something bigger. Like, immediately. Yeah. And then it wasn't until years later, after I started doing all the meditating and everything, realizing that we do manifest, and that we bring into whatever we want. Yeah. And learning how to do that in a way that doesn't make us wish we had always done something bigger. That way, you're always stuck in, well, you're never going to be happy with what you got. And then that's part of like the whole consciousness stuff and rooms of consciousness, and letting go of expectations of outcomes and stuff like that.
All potential topics for future podcasts. So if you think any of that sounds interesting, you should listen in the future. Yeah. Manifesting, finding my way through naturopathic school and trying to incorporate spiritual healing.
Yeah. All the things.
Physical
and
pain,
healing.
And spiritual health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Healing, helping you with pain, or manifesting anything from money to health to.
Yeah. It's pretty much just a place where we're gonna like get to hang out and talk about whatever we want to. So
and be as woo woo as we want.
Yeah. I don't know if it's relevant, but I feel like also it might be relevant or fun for people to know that we're best friends who live next door to each other. I think that makes it even more interesting in case it wasn't. Oh, and that's Wesley. He's gonna bark sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got it all.
It's got it all. Also, we don't know what we're doing with filming and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know more than I do.
That might be obvious. But, but please we always are welcome questions and comments and everything. So.
Yep.
Oh, and I'm Nell.
I'm Oceana.
I thought that was really